Welcome to Film Recaps, the channel dedicated to bringing you the highlights of your favorite movies. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below if you'd like us to continue creating these videos. The film opens as Princess Irulan Carino, daughter of Emperor Shaddam IV, journals the recent account of the attack on House Atreides by the Harkonnens. She notes Duke Leto Atreides' close relationship with the Emperor, which confuses her regarding her father's decision to order the decimation of the Atreides bloodline, although she believes not all of them are truly God. Irulan then ponders the implications of the fall of House Atreides for Arrakis. Shortly after joining the Fremen in their trek across the desert to Siege Tabr, Paul Atreides and his pregnant mother Lady Jessica hide with the warriors as Harkonnen scouts stalk them. Stilgar leads his troops to evade the scouts before using their own weapons to bring them down. After disposing of the scouts, the Fremen leave their bodies as food for Shai-Hulud. Upon arriving at the siege, Paul and Jessica encounter scorn from the other Fremen, with some suspecting them as spies and others angry at Paul for killing Jamies. Stilgar addresses a council to persuade them to assist Paul and Jessica, emphasizing the mutual benefits. Stilgar privately confides in Jessica, informing her of their dying Reverend Mother and requesting that Jessica take her place. Jessica joins other Bene Gesserit, including Reverend Mother Ramallo, where she is instructed to drink the water of life, a poisonous substance lethal to males. Jessica drinks it, convulses, and begins to inherit the memories of her ancestors, while her unborn daughter also communicates with her. They discuss their mission to convince others in northern Arrakis to believe in the prophecy, starting with those perceived as weak. Cole endeavors to forge a connection with Chani while she converses with her friend Shishakli about the perceived falseness of the prophecy. Later, the Fremen encounter a Harkonnen scouting tank and launch an attack. Paul aids Chani and helps destroy the ornithopter threatening them. As the Fremen collect water from the deceased scouts, Paul expresses his dedication to fighting alongside them, earning their respect. Paul and Chani later sit on a hill, admiring the landscape as the spice falls across the sand. They grow closer and share a romantic kiss. Time progresses, and Paul trains extensively among the Fremen, becoming a Fadakan warrior alongside Chani. He gains acceptance among the Fremen, adopting the fighter named Muad'Dib Usul after the desert kangaroo mice and a renowned Fremen warrior. However, he experiences disturbing visions of leading a holy war southward, with the land scattered with corpses, a consequence he fears of fulfilling the prophecy as the Lisan al-Gaib. Paul proceeds to undertake a major Fremen test, riding a sandworm. He descends to a lower level of the sands as the Fremen gather to watch. Placing the device to summon Shai-Hulud. Paul waits until the worm crosses through a mound, seizing his opportunity to jump on. After a brief struggle, he hooks himself onto the sandworm, successfully riding it amidst roaring cheers from the Fremen. Meanwhile, Jessica embarks on a journey to southern Arrakis to spread word of the prophecy to the fundamentalists. Though she desires Paul's company, he believes their actions are fostering false hope and fears that accompanying her would fulfill these visions. On GD Prime, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen returns to his homeworld, attending a celebration for his youngest nephew, Phaedrothah, brother of Rabban. Reverend Mother Mohiam and fellow Bene Gesserit Lady Margot Fenring are also present. They join a massive crowd to witness Fade's participation in a tournament, where he faces 3 followers of House Atreides. Despite 2 being drugged, Fade easily dispatches them. However, the third puts up a fierce fight before Fade ultimately kills him. Fade expresses anger at the Baron for withholding this information but later designates Fade as his successor on Arrakis due to Rabban's failure in maintaining spice production and controlling the Fremen. Mohiam and Margot speculate on Paul's survival, with tales of Muad'Dib spreading across Arrakis. Margot confronts Phaedrothah and, after initially arousing his suspicion, seduces him following the same Bene Gesserit test Mohiam administered to Paul. Margot later confirms to Mohiam that she is carrying Fade's daughter. Irulan continues to question the attack on House Atreides and confides in Mohiam, who was privy to the Emperor's involvement and its necessity. A group of smugglers lands on Arrakis, sparking a confrontation with the Fremen until Paul recognizes one of them as Gurney Halleck. They share an emotional reunion, and Paul halts the Fremen's assault. Gurney recounts his survival and joins forces with Paul, Chani, and Stilgar. Feeling outmatched by the Harkonnens, Gurney leads them to the House Atreides' stash of atomic warheads. Harkonnen troops, led by Feyd-Rautha, attack Siege Tab, resulting in casualties among the Fremen and forcing the survivors into hiding. Shishakli is captured, and upon her refusal to cooperate, Feyd incinerates her. Despite Paul's hesitation, the survivors begin their journey southward. Paul visits the same temple that Jessica had visited to find where the water of life comes from. Despite Chani's protests, Paul drinks it and loses consciousness. He experiences more visions as Jessica did, including one of his sister Alia talking to him. Everyone gathers to try and help Paul, and Chani is told that he may be revived with desert spring tears. Chani wipes her tears and mixes it with the water of life before putting it to Paul's lips. He awakens and speaks to Jessica privately. He reveals that he has learned that she is the Baron's daughter, which makes them both Harkonnens, and not even Jessica previously knew. This now makes Paul the Kwisatz Haderach. Other Fremen leaders gather at the temple to discuss Paul's ascension. They wish to have him challenge Stilgar, for which he himself is ready to go for, but Paul defies them and gives them a big speech in which he now claims to be the Lisan al-Gaib. Chani also argues that the prophecy has been keeping the Fremen enslaved. All the Fremen soon bow to Paul as their messiah. The Harkonnens return with the Emperor, Irulan, and their Sardaukar forces, leading the Fremen to face off against them once and for all. The Emperor confronts the Harkonnens and has the Baron's suspensor belts severed to cause him to fall and render him immobile. Paul then has the warheads be launched to breach Arrakine's defenses. The Fremen warriors then ride the sandworms to mow down a good chunk of the army. The Baron makes one last desperate crawl toward the Emperor's throne, but Paul approaches him and addresses him as his grandfather once, shocking the Baron before Paul sticks a knife in his neck, killing him. Outside, the surviving Sardaukar begin to flee, but Gurney catches up to Rabban for a rematch. They briefly duel until Gurney jams his blade into Rabban's chest. Paul prepares to confront the Emperor in retaliation for his hand in his father's death. He threatens to destroy the spice supply unless the Emperor surrenders and allows Paul to take Irulan's hand in marriage, something that visibly hurts Chani. The Emperor calls upon Feyd-Rautha to be his champion. Paul and Feyd engage in an intense duel, with Feyd managing to pierce Paul in the side, but Paul ultimately gains the upper hand and fatally stabs Feyd in the chest. He tells Paul that he fought well before collapsing dead. Paul prepares to go for the Emperor next, but Irulan steps in to agree to the condition of marrying Paul. Before the Emperor steps down, he tells Paul that he had Leto killed because he was driven by the actions of the heart. Paul takes Irulan's hand, leading Chani to cheerfully walk out. Paul is later informed that the other great houses have not all accepted his ascension. He then proceeds to have the Fremen army move forward to send them to paradise. Gurney, Stilgar, and many others agree and march forward. Jessica speaks to Alia one last time, stating that the Holy War has now begun. The film closes as Chani steps out into the sands to summon a sandworm for her to ride to parts unknown.